NXT is going to be watching. Everybody's going to
Welcome to Queens of WWE, Episode 9. I'm your host, Kyle the Man Anthony, joined by my co-host, the EVP, CJP. What's up, man? What's going on?
What's going on, Kyle? I'm the EVP from the EVP show. Back here again for episode 9 of Queens of WWE. A lot to dive into. It's been a crazy, crazy week of wrestling on the women's side, especially. So, look forward to diving in with you and talking about a lot of topics. I know it's going to be a lot to talk about tonight. So,
yeah, for sure. So let's get into it. Let's go over. On SmackDown, we had Chelsea Green and Tiffany Stratton with the segment. You know, Chelsea just recently won the women's championship, as we know, from SummerSlam, and so and they were doing this whole celebration between the two. But then they had Fatal Influence versus had them face Chelsea and Tiffany, and then I was like, okay, and then but within that match. Fallon pinned Chelsea, but Chelsea got hurt during that match. Had to have her orbital bone broken in near her eye, so that didn't look good at all, unfortunately. That's not a good sign there. And Fallon just pinned the women's champion, and so that was terrible too, because you pinning the women's champion after it comes down to the perception still that Chelsea is just a pure comedy character, and you have this woman get pinned because they didn't want to pin Tiffany Stratton because she is the vocal point clearly in that division. So it's like that entire thing was pretty stupid. And even before then, they were having Tiffany and Chelsea felt like it was Tiffany's going to say something about her getting an opportunity for the championship. So now that's kind of now out the window clearly now with this injury, and we're probably looking at another relinquished thing, we had to technically relinquish the championship, but a potential another a women's champion is unavailable to wrestle. As I said before, they should have just put the title on freaking Tiffany Stratton, knowing that she has a U.S. title match next week against JC Jane. I'm like, it wouldn't make the most sense in the world to do that, but whatever. I didn't really care for that. But how do you feel about that, CJ? And then we'll get into the other stuff that happened during the match itself. But how you felt about the beginning of it and then the match itself?
Well, it's been crazy since SummerSlam. Obviously, with the Rhea injury, it messed up a lot of creative plans. Obviously, she has had surgery, so we're not going to see her until probably next year, maybe into this year. Who knows? She probably will recover faster than most people will, but she's already walking around a little bit. I saw her working out, but yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I still felt like it was the right thing for them to give Chelsea that opportunity. But the main thing, one of the big concerns now is this is a second injury caused by Fatal Influence. JC Jane hurt Brie Bella, not on purpose, but at SummerSlam, and then when they hit the fatal flaw on Chelsea Green for the pin, now she has a orbital bone fracture close to her eyeball. I don't know if it's been released yet, if she's having surgery. I wasn't a big fan of her getting pinned, though. I think that's terrible to have your newly crowned women's SmackDown champion to get pinned. And then, but for me, Kyle, honestly, before the injury took place, it kind of seemed like Tiffany said she had something to say to Chelsea. So for me, it kind of felt like they were maybe looking at trying to turn Tiffany back heel. I guess we'll kind of talk about the Tiffany and Chelsea thing later, but I think that was probably what they were storyline wise. That's what it looked like they were doing to me. and maybe if putting that title back on Tiffany Stratton, after maybe she dropped the U.S. title or something like that. But now it's just kind of all over the place. They got Nia Jax back involved. Nobody wants to see that. I don't. I don't at all. As far as her being champion again, it's kind of all over the place, man. Back-to-back injuries. Um, Having your newly crowned champion get pinned a week after she becomes champion is just absolutely terrible. But it is the way WWE likes to book. They love doing that to their champions. So, yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, but it's also just weird. It just gives like I said, it gives the perception that Chelsea is just pure a comedy. Yeah, because this was Chelsea. If this was Tiffany or Charlotte or Jade, they were not getting pinned in their first match coming out of their after them winning the championship the previous night. So it's like, come on, So or during the pay-per-view weekend, I should say. So it's again, man, it's the perception. This woman has been treated like she's booked as a clown. She's a pure comedy act, and and they decided to put the title on her. That's pretty lame. And what makes this even worse now is that now she's hurt, and we don't know if she's gonna have to relinquish the championship. She should. I've been hearing been listening to the for a podcast of people saying that she keep the title on her. She needs to be the champion. Do what he did with her before, with having her with the mask, all that stuff. And it's like, sure, but it's like it's not. No, I don't. No. They, like I said, I stand by this. I stand by this opinion. This is give Tiffany both championships for what and knowing that what we know now that on Friday this week is going to be Tiffany Stratton versus JC Jade for the U.S. Championship. So that's happening next week. I'm kind of expecting the title change on Friday, and then that would be a clear path for Tiffany to turn heel. Because at this point, I think she should be a heel. She's a great baby face, but she's also a great heel. She hasn't really shown her heel character work pretty much since she debuted to the main roster 2 years ago. So it's clearly going to be that direction going forward, and I think it'll be good for JC to have some gold around her because she's been kind of she's been losing. She talks a big game, but when it comes down to doing something with her, she's just either not wrestling because you have the other girls wrestling and losing, which I think is also a terrible thing. It just makes JC look stupid of saying every single week, "Oh, we're going to take over this division," but yet, what have you done, JC? Done a whole lot of talking and not enough wrestling. When you do wrestle, you pretty much lose. And she didn't qualify for the ladder match, and when she did face Tiffany for the chance, and so I thought that was a stupid matchup in the first place. So that both of them could have been in the ladder match. That would make the most sense if you didn't want to have Tiffany defend the championship at all at SummerSlam, which I think that's a whole other issue we talked about before. So, but I feel like doing this match on Friday, I think we're crowned a new champion, and I think we're going to have Tiffany turn on the urge to turn heel. I don't think she's going to turn heel that night, but it'll be the start of the Tiffany heel turn. So, how you feel about this matchup for Friday?
Well, Fatal Influence come in with creative was really high on them. They were getting a lot of heel heat. JC beat Charlotte Flair. She beat Alexa Bliss. She wrestled Rhea Ripley to a no contest or DQ or something like that. Obviously, she did lose to Tiffany Stratton. She lost in the Queen of the Ring. First round, I don't think she got pinned, but maybe she did. I don't remember. But at the end of the day, like, it seems like WWE is trying to book them a lot stronger than what they were, have been. Obviously, they put the titles on Fallon and Laney. Going back to the Chelsea thing, I mean, truthfully, Laney Reed should be the number one contender for the women's championship. She pinned Chelsea, so I mean that if you want to go by how stupid the booking is with that.
I think
That.
Fallon Hallie took the pin. I
Oh,
think
okay,
Fallon Hallie pinned out.
okay, Fallon. Then, well, yeah. At the end of the day, either one of them don't need to be challenging for the title, but that's just dumb for the champion to get pinned. But I mean, before the injury, I would have said it was probably a 99.9% chance that JC was winning the title. I still think she is. Um, but I don't know. Like I said, if Chelsea doesn't have to have surgery, maybe they can have her with the mask. I don't think she gets stripped from the title. I don't think the title gets stripped if she doesn't have to have surgery. Um, I think JC wins here. Just kind of solidify the Fatal Influence faction. There's a lot they can do from that faction. Obviously, there's a new faction that formed that we'll talk about later. And then you have the baddies also as well. So I think JC Jane wins the title. It kind of supplements for her match that she was supposed to have a Rhea at SummerSlam. Put the mid card championship on her first. I think that as her being a heel, it's going to be a lot of people that she can defend the title against on SmackDown with Lola maybe coming up and maybe some other people, some of Charlotte or maybe Alexa or Tatum Paxley or a lot of people that are on the SmackDown roster as a babyface. So I think it makes the most sense. I don't think there's enough heels for Tiffany with that U.S. title. So I think we're getting a title change, and then you have all the Fatal Influence holding gold after Friday. So and yeah, I mean, Tiffany needs to go to heel. So I think that would ultimately be the start of Tiffany Stratton's heel turn.
Yeah, that makes sense. I didn't really think about it that way in terms of the fact that there is any credible heels for Tiffany to face for that championship. So yeah, that makes sense for the title to be on a heel. So because there's a lot of baby faces that are or SmackDown they can be credible challengers for sure for JC if she wins. So yeah, for sure. I never thought about that, but that makes sense. So yeah, we'll definitely see. And I kind of agree. Tiffany does need to be a heel at this point. She is just completely. It's she's been a babyface now for what 2 years, so it's I think it's time to see her back to being a heel at this point for sure. This time I won't miss today.
Well,
Okay,
and
cool.
also another thing is they just had Tiffany Stratton beat JC Jane in like 6 or 7 minutes for the qualifying match. I have a hard time believing that they're going to do that again. So it's either going to be some sort of DQ or JC's winning the title. I don't think that Tiffany's
Yeah.
winning her back to back in a couple weeks span like that. I don't.
Yeah, I can see a scenario where they can do where if JC doesn't win the championship, let's say Chelsea tries to help Tiffany within the match and it backfires and JC as a winning the championship and then Tiffany's still in the ring being down and stuff. And Chelsea gets in the ring try to help her up or whatever, and she just goes off and it just attacks Chelsea. Maybe she. I mean, that'll be interesting how the crowd will take to her. Will she get booed or will she get cheered? I'm not really sure. I know people are pro Chelsea for some reason, so maybe she'll get booed. But people love Tiffany Stratton too. But I mean, she has been lackluster in terms of crowd reactions of getting people to care about her. So maybe she does get booed and she'll be the bad heel, not the cool heel that we see WWE does do for majority of people who do turn heel. So maybe she will get booed. She was a really good heel on NXT, so I think it will work. And I'll get behind Tiffany because I'll be all here. I'm here for. I'm a Tiffany fan anyway, so and I don't care for Chelsea. So I mean, it's already kind of a win-win there for me because I'm already a fan of Tiffany, whether she's a heel or face. But yeah, it'll be a good fresher for Tiffany to be more just more, I guess, herself. I guess how people frame her as like she's some type of a self standard person and only only worries about herself based off how she comes across on social media, which I think that's kind of a unfair misconception from someone just based on how they are on social media. So, but either way, I think she works better in both roles. I don't really have any issue which roles she plays as honestly on TV because I like them both personally. So, and I'm just a Tiffany fan, so whatever she does, I'm here for it. So anyway, that's how I feel about it. See how you feel about it. Do you feel that are you tired of Tiffany's trying, or are you kind of the same length with me or whatever?
I mean, I'm obviously never been a huge fan, but I think that she needed to go like full blown heel. I heard the reaction when she come out in Minnesota in her home state, and it wasn't great. Um, you know, the only thing is if you're gonna turn her, she needs to like completely turn and not be the tweener. Uh, I think the only disappointing thing to me about it, if and I do believe they are gonna turn her heel, would be that we're probably gonna miss out on the Blake Tiffany match for right now, which they could end up like linking up together. Like I don't see Blake Monroe as a baby face. I don't think that's gonna
No.
happen. So I think we would miss out on that match. But it seems like SmackDown is kind of just forming a bunch of factions of three with the women, so that they can get everybody on TV in 2 hours. Because there's a lot of people being left off TV. So I'm all for her turning if it's the right type of turn. Um, but if she turns on Chelsea, she's gonna get booed. So I think that's the person she has to turn on. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. But we probably wouldn't get the Tiffany Blake thing once she turns heel, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for sure, I could see that. Well, speaking of Chelsea, we had Nia Jax, the Lodge legend, come out after the match was over with to attack Chelsea, and that Nia did anyway, attack Chelsea, and she held up the championship, and she is hinted at a championship match with her and Chelsea at some point. I was like, oh god, I was like, what's like, oh my god, this is a nightmare. First of all, the match is going to end up being terrible if it does happen. Second of all, just the idea of Nia's champion again is completely just sounds awful. Been there, done that twice, and we're gonna see this again for a third time. I gotta hope not. Um, so this isn't good. Honestly, I kind of almost wish the activity did turn at this moment because that would have been more entertaining. At least it would have been a entertaining match. There's a story behind them going, them linking up with each other for the last few weeks or whatever. But here it's just completely random and it's just having here's Chelsea's first big match as a baby face. He's a heel that we don't care about that can go after her and all that stuff. If that's the case, put Lash in there. They think they view Lash more credible than it makes sense. I get that, but still, it's like I don't know. I feel like that's just lame, and I just think honestly, because Chelsea isn't a good, I don't view her as a great wrestler. Nia, it's kind of like hit or miss. It depends who she's in the ring with. If she's in the ring with someone that's great, it could be a decent to good match. If it's someone that's not really all that great in the ring, like Chelsea, unfortunately, is going to end up being pretty bad. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not excited for this, but I can get it in some respect because it's a heel versus babyface, and for her first challenger, need to be someone that Chelsea can beat, that won't be offensive. So I just think this match will be offensive to watch, but whatever. They get this. I guess it's kind of like the peel the bandage off really fast type of deal when it comes to this. So till we get to the real story between Chelsea and Tiffany. So how you feel about this, CJ? Feel about the ambush and the attack and Nia going after Chelsea Green's championship?
I don't feel anything about it. Truthfully, I don't like it at all. We've already seen it. She's already been champion twice. It should have been Last Legend if it's going to be either one of those. Nia is boring, in my opinion, and I hope to God that creative and WWE is not thinking about putting the title back on her. She's only had a couple of good matches, and I believe that was with like Rhea and Naomi. Everything else she's had has been awful. I I don't know what they're doing. Maybe it's just somebody for Chelsea to beat. 'Cause they maybe want her to get over a little bit as the champion. Obviously, with Rhea being out till end of the year to Royal Rumble, however long it is. Um, yeah, I'm not for it, man. If, I don't think they're putting the title back on Nia Jax. I don't. Um, but I don't. You never say never. With WWE, I'm not a fan of it. I think the match will be absolutely terrible. I love Chelsea as a character and as a person. I listened to her story on Nikki's podcast about everything she's been through in the business. I respect her. She put a lot of time in, 13 years. Um, but in the ring, she's not the best. I don't think I don't think a lot of them are that great in the ring. But uh, I don't know, man. Chelsea and Nia in a wrestling match, that's just not appealing to me. I don't think Dave Meltzer's going to be breaking out the 5 stars for that by no means. Um, Hopefully, it's something just to get by, maybe to get Chelsea a successful title defense. Maybe she moves on to Lash. I don't know. I would rather Lash Legend beat her than Nia. I've already been there, done that, already seen it. Do not want to see that again.
Yeah, and the last thing I'll say about Chelsea is that, for what I've heard, that before she came back to WWE, all stuff during her time wrestling other places, she's been a killer, all this stuff in other places she wrestled in, and it's like, why can't she be like that on the main roster? I mean, sure, she could be somewhat, in a comedy role in some respect, but I kind of wish that when she becomes more serious, to actually put in a good effort into a wrestling match. I kind of wish that was they could be kind of balanced it out and not pure comedy. And then when you actually in the ring, as it being kind of just not compelling or interesting. To think back to the Royal Rumble, every time she's in the Royal Rumble, it's like she's there for 5 seconds, she has her moment, and then she quickly gets out of the ring. She's not there for like at least for like 12 minutes or something. She's like there for like 6 minutes or 6 seconds and just doing pure comedy stuff or whatever. And I even think back to what happened at SummerSlam. Her and Tiffany just jumping up and down like they're high school like the high school girls or whatever, and being like all happy go lucky. And yet here's the championship hanging above the ring, and here both of them jumping up and down like they're teenagers or something. I'm like, come on, man. This is Don't put Tiffany and Lubbock to this. She's way too much better. She's better than this. I didn't like that. So I just think this is lame what they're doing with Tiffany. I think with Chelsea, and I feel bad Tiffany's a part of this. Hopefully they can move on from it. But yeah, okay, let's move on. Let's go to Charlotte Flair versus Jade Cargill in the main event. This kind of shocked me because I expected it to be the main event itself. But I was like, okay, well, okay, so cool. So let's see what happens. The match was all that great. Really, it was about Alexa Bliss's return because she was gone for a while, but she still had the cast on. She had her gloves on, just like how she did when she was teaming Bray Wyatt, and she was that heel character beforehand. She put in the pain thing, and then the lights went out. Lights came back on. Here comes Tatum Paxley out of nowhere, standing on top of the post, taking out B-Fab and Mia Yim. And then I'm like, okay, well, that shocked me. I expect her to show up on Raw to do something with her and Lyra, because they were be a buddy during their time on NXT. And so with Tatum on SmackDown, like, that's kind of surprising. But I do think back to an interview she did with Denise a few months ago, where she said that she wanted to work with Alexa because they had the same vibe of being that dark character, and she kind of she looked up to Alexa because she just felt like she can relate to it because she liked the dark character and the whole thing that Alexa was doing beforehand. And that vibe could work. And I kind of agree, it kind of does work. It kind of sucks that she's on SmackDown. I feel like like I said before, the women are bloated with credible women on SmackDown, and I think some of them should go over on Raw because I think needs at least two more women on Raw. But I can't fully hate this because I like the idea of Tatum and Alexa teaming with each other, and be a trick how Charlotte's going to interact with them, and be kind of, they'll have like their own language or whatever, and be say passing out secret messages to each other during backstage segments or something like that, and Charlotte will end up being jealous for like Tatum's taking her spot or whatever. It's like that should be interesting. And I think, they need tag teams, so I think in an idea of an Alexa Tatum tag team, that for them winning the tag team championships, I can get behind. Honestly, I don't know. I like all of this, and then honestly, and then another thing too is that whenever the time comes for them to end up breaking away from each other, and an Alexa Tatum feud, I can get behind that too. So I think Tatum being on this show is going to be great. I think her being the U.S. champion or women's champion in the future on this show should be a cool thing too. So I'm in favor in this. I feel bad for Charlotte. She'll feel like the third wheel ultimately, eventually, not in the short term, but in the long term, it will be, because it will be. I already see it now. She kind of pops up on screen already based on what I saw on Friday. She kind of like I was just pretty much staring at Tatum and staring at Alexa because they both to me more compelling and interesting. And but she just pops up. She just pops the screen really just immediately as Tatum. So I like this. I'm looking forward to seeing how this is going to play out, and it'd be cool to see how Tatum does on SmackDown. I'm excited about it. How you feel?
I was definitely surprised. I was 100% believing that Tatum would probably show up on Raw. I thought that there was a lot more over there for her to do. A lot more story. But I'm okay with it because, you know, Charlotte Flair was on a YouTube podcast about close to a month ago. She said she wanted to be the leader of a faction, or she wanted to do some sort of romantic storyline before she won number 15. Um, and she hand selected Tatum Paxley, which that should make Tatum feel, Charlotte Flair at the end of the day, she's got a lot of pull. I'm sure that, if she requests something, I mean, she's Ric Flair's daughter at the end of the day, and she's the 14-time women's champion. I love it. I mean, it makes the most sense. Technically, it really does, because they were always outnumbered. You got Jade, which let me tell you right now, Jade Cargill, phenomenal looking. She's great looking. In shape, built, but wrestling wise, that match was awful. Charlotte Flair could not carry that match at all, which was terrible. It was bad. But I like it because you get to see the darker Alexa Bliss. She come out with the Lily doll again, and then obviously Tatum is a darker character. I don't think Charlotte's gonna fade away. I think this is a faction. I think Charlotte's a leader. I mean, she posted on social media looking for names, asking the fans for a name. So, I mean, eventually I'm sure it will, but it kind of evens the playing field up on SmackDown, because now you got, I'm gonna call it the Queen Terror or something like that. I think that might be what they call that. I don't know. It's gonna be something like that. The Queen's Court or something like that. I don't know. But you got Charlotte, Alexa, and Tatum, and then you got Jade and the baddies, and then you got Fatal Import. So there's 3 factions over there. So it kind of all evens out. I could eventually see maybe Tatum and Alexa going after Laney and Fallon for the tag titles. Charlotte could be with JC for the U.S. title and not have to win the world title. There's a lot of things they can do with this. I think it was an excellent move. And like I said, Charlotte Flair hand selected Tatum Paxley she wanted her to come be in that faction with her. So if anytime you get a high praise from a Charlotte or Becky Lynch or somebody like that, you know that your WWE is going to take care of her. So I think it's the best position for her to come up from NXT because we've seen how some of the other NXT stars have been treated since they've come up to the main roster. So I think it's a perfect fit for Tatum. And I like that we're going to get the darker Lily Doll type character back from Alexa as well. So I'm here for it. I think in my opinion, probably the most dominant faction, women's faction on SmackDown. Like star power wise, maybe not gold, but
Yeah.
star power wise.
Yeah, and then like you said before, I didn't really. That does make sense in terms of that perspective. I think any, like I said, it's not going to happen right away. Of course, when it comes to them split up with guys, from each other. It's just I get what you saying in that perspective, and that Charlotte wanted Tatum on the show, fine, but I guess as just that what appeals to me is to see Alexa and Tatum together. It seems more an appealing tag team in my eyes in terms of that, and I feel like it's just Charlotte is going to end up being like a third wheel, kind of very similar to happened on Raw, which we'll get to, but it won't be, like I said, it won't be right away. But it just appeals to me to see Alexa and Tatum together right now, just based off of their quick interaction on Friday. So if I already have that feeling, I'm ready for a quick interaction with them in the last 5 minutes, like what was it, like 10 seconds of them together before the show was over with. That tells you something. I never felt that way before. Of a quick being super on board for two people coming together that quickly in a 5 second segment like that. So I'd be intrigued how will Charlotte fit into that. It'll be interesting to see what happens there. But yeah, like you said, I think that it'd be a cool dynamic if they have Alexa and Tam go after the tag team championships and Charlotte go after the U.S. title. That should be interesting. I really thought about that for Charlotte in particular. The tag team titles for Tatum and Alexa, I kind of thought about, which I would have liked. But yeah, that could be interesting. That's something I could get behind for sure. And like you said, there are all these factions with B-Fab and Meechin and then Jade and having a fatal influence. So you now have like three major factions on SmackDown, two heels and one baby face. I guess that makes sense. You can't just only have, because too much heel. That's kind of heel heavy when it comes to two heel factions like that. And then who does the baby face do? They were outnumbered for a while, so this does even it out. And maybe they are gonna probably head for war games too. Probably, maybe that's the other thing they'll do. So I think so. We'll see how that's gonna play out. But yeah.
Yeah, I literally would. It's like I don't know. You read my mind, honestly. They could start a. So Charlotte is Charlotte at the end of the day, but she's super over. Like Alexa helped her get over, but she worked really hard to maintain not the fake Charlotte that some fans cheer for. Like she's getting cheered everywhere. So she's really worked hard at that. I don't think Charlotte necessarily has to go dark, but she is the leader of that faction, and sometimes the leaders don't really have to match the other two people in it, but they're the ones that are kind of pushing the narrative with the group. And I think that's what Charlotte said. She wants to be the leader of a faction. So it makes sense. And yeah, I mean, you know, with all these factions, that's a good starting point for WWE to start building towards for war games because you already have 6 heels that are 2 factions. I mean, I don't know how many they're going to put in the match. Maybe 5, I guess. But you maybe have Lola Vice come over there. Maybe she joins Charlotte, Alexa, and Tatum to go up against maybe 5, and then one more person to go up against the five in that out of Fatal Influence and the Baddie 2.0. So yeah, I mean, I don't think there's anything that can be considered bad about the situation. Charlotte's a great leader. She's been doing it for a long time. It's a great starting point for Tatum, and for her to come under Charlotte and Alexa Bliss, then WWE is going to do everything they can to look after her for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll definitely see how that's going to play out. So let's go over to Raw. We had Liv or Stephanie McMahon coming out to call out Liv Morgan and saying that she was, coming out to Liv after she took the title away from her and all this stuff. That for at WrestleMania, she just disappeared for a couple months, but then before she only said so much. Becky Lynch came out and came face to face with Stephanie and was pretty much saying that, telling Stephanie that to not get her in her way, and that I'm gonna take the title off of Liv because she was champion for over 100 days and had done nothing with it, pretty much. And then Liv came out to attack both women from behind, but they got the upper hand, and Liv was kind of was just ran away. And Stephanie and Becky again came face to face like they did last week, 2 weeks in a row. And all this told me is that Liv Morgan feels like a third wheel. It's not about Liv. It's really the tensions between Becky and Stephanie. Liv is just there as a body, as it's pretty much how her reign has been since WrestleMania, and it still is that way. It's pretty sad because I'm a Liv Morgan fan. I like Liv. I really enjoyed her heel turn when it happened in 2 years ago, and her going after Rhea. But even then, though, I'll be honest, even then it was she had the character to get to focus on when she was the champion the first. Well, I guess it would have been the second time, her being the women's champion, and she had the character to fall back on. And the whole theme was her to take everything away from Rhea, and she did that. And when that happened, it was like I didn't really care that she didn't defend the title because her character work was great. But then around the time last year, it was kind of I was like, okay, where are we going with Liv as the champion? It was getting a little bit it's getting not interesting a little bit. But then so when she lost it to Rhea, then she was the tag team champion. So I was like, okay, cool. I thought she was going to be eventually the IC champion. I thought, and not her winning the women's championship back. But she did win the Rumble, and then she did face Stephanie, which was a good feud. The match was short, and then she won the title and did nothing with that championship. And then her first title defense was at SummerSlam against Io. And I was like, at that point, I was thinking just have Io win the championship because she hasn't done anything credible with that championship at all. She's been playing cheerleader, and now since Becky and Stephanie came back in the second week here, Liv again feels like a third wheel. Just 2 weeks in a row is about Becky and Stephanie coming face to face and them having issues, and it's like at this point I would have the title vacated and have the just crown Becky and Stephanie and to do that match for the championship at this point, because Liv is she's just there. She's like a ghost. It's like she's there, but she doesn't exist type of deal. And that's pretty sad because I know how good Liv is, and so it's kind of unfortunate that this just happened for Liv title run, but it's like, man, dude, I'm sad about it because I like Liv, and I want to see more of Liv and her character work, and I think she could thrive having her feuding with Becky and Stephanie, but Becky and Stephanie are focused on each other and not really on Liv too much. So how do you feel about this segment, and how do you feel about Liv being the third wheel in this Stephanie and Becky feud?
So first off, I want to start off and say, I think me and you talked about this off the camera, but WWE held Stephanie McCourt off of TV for a month after she was cleared, which is just that's mind-boggling to me. Especially with all the complaints and everything that people are saying that Liv not defending the title over 100 days. You know, I understand Stephanie needs some time off. She's been wrestling all over the world. Her body needs some rest. They are human beings at the end of the day, so they do need rest. But um, I like Liv, so this isn't this isn't me. I think Liv is great. This isn't me talking like the Nayas and the Jades, who I just can't. I think that they just can't wrestle. Period. Um, Liv is great, but here's the thing. Um, the Judgment Day is ran its course. It's very oversaturated. It's already. I mean, what are we going? I remember when me and you first started just content creating. I mean, Liv wasn't in there, but the Judgment Day has been going on for years. I mean, it's time to end this. I know that the Liv Dom fan group is very big in the social media community. Um, but Liv as the world heavy Raw Women's Champion is not great. And hasn't been great. It has nothing to do with her personally. It's just they don't know how to book her or that championship. And the reason I say this, Kyle, is Becky Lynch lost the title to Sol Ruca at Clash in Italy, and she took her vacation to spend time with Drew, her baby and stuff. And um, they had to bring her. They had to bring her back as a baby face because Raw is so thin. And then they bring Stephanie back at the same time. But I think Stephanie and Becky have amazing chemistry and tension in the ring together. I seen that. Becky Lynch. While she had time off, she actually went and learned Spanish because she wanted this whole thing with her and Liv and Stephanie McCourt. So Becky Lynch actually went and picked up learned the language of Spanish, which I think is phenomenal. That just shows what kind of person Becky is for the business. Liv title reign is
when she pulled out that Spanish on Raw, I was like, whoa, okay. So that was like I liked it. So
Yeah, she went and learned it. She actually went and learned it when she was off due to I guess that she knew that was what was coming up next. But they had to turn her babyface just to have somebody credible to go up against Liv. The title needs to come off of Liv Morgan. I don't care which way it goes. They've already tried it with Stephanie before. It didn't really work out. I think Becky needs one last run with the championship. Maybe they do a triple threat. Let's cross our fingers that's that Money in the Bank because I'll be there. I think it's phenomenal. I think the chemistry between Becky and Stephanie is great. And Liv Morgan feels like a Judgment Day cheerleader at this point to me. So nothing personal against her as a person, or I think she can wrestle, but they just don't know what to do with her. So I think it's time to take the title off of her.
Right, like I said, I love Liv. I wanted this for Liv for a long time from during her time on NXT. I knew there's something about Liv even back then in 2015. I was like, man, I want to see more. For 2016, that's when I started watching Liv consistently on NXT. But I was like, there's something about her I liked. I was like, she had that cool vibe. I like that she always came out like with the hat and all this stuff. She just looked cool to me. And then her coming up with the Riot Squad, I even enjoyed. And then when she broke out on her own, I was like, yes, let's do something with her. It took a while, the whole, with her, her looked like she was going to get a push during her time on Raw near the end of 2019, and then all throughout 2020, it was like, okay, well, they done nothing with her. You have her back with Ruby Riot. I was like, okay, well that's fine. And then it wasn't until 2021. That was when everything kind of went up with her winning the briefcase and everything that happened with her to that point from 2021 to now to where she is now. So I'm kind of glad that she got I'm glad she got a healthy title run than she did previously, because that run unfortunately wasn't that great and it ended way too quickly. And these last two reigns has been fun, but it's just been kind of not. It's kind of lackluster last few months. And I think the other thing that kind of hurt is that kind of hurt her reign or just her run this year is that she got hurt last year, and it kind of whatever plan they were going to do with her last year, prior for her to win the Rumble, it was kind of like it kind of was a little too late, because whatever they're going to do between her and Roxanne, honestly, she had issues with Roxanne. That kind of went out the window for right now until they figure out a good direction to go back to it. Maybe after Money in the Bank, if Roxanne does win the briefcase, maybe they'll do something with that finally. But it feels like it's I don't want to say I'm not going to say it's too little too late. It's not really fair to say, but it's just took a little too long, and I'm worried that people won't get that excited about it if Liv is still the champion. That's why wasn't really all that high for her to retain at SummerSlam, because I was like, but this is prior before Becky and Stephanie came back. I was like, man, they're really gonna wait all the way until October to do something interesting with her as the champion. So I would rather have the title switch hands at Money in the Bank if that match happens, whether Becky or Stephanie wins. I would prefer Becky, because I think Becky needs another reign as champion. And I'm not just saying that as a big Becky fan, but Stephanie just became champion last year. She had that reign, but I think Becky is the right person to take the title off of Liv if they do that match at Money in the Bank. So, yeah, so that's how I feel about it. And then whatever they're gonna do with Roxanne and Liv is clearly gonna be after. Maybe if Roxanne does win the championship, I mean win the briefcase, they could do that feud in the fall. So yeah, we'll see. But let's get to Roxanne. We got Roxanne and Raquel versus Sol Ruca and a mystery partner. Now I assumed this was going to be Lola Vice or NXT or or a new NXT name wasn't thinking of. So, but it ended up being Io, which is fine. I can't believe I'm going to say this. I was slightly disappointed that it was Io and not a new person. I don't know why. It's pretty sad for me to say that. I'm a big Io fan, but it happened. They did this match here, and so hit the Soul Snatcher. I think it was on Roxanne, and she got pinned again. So, again, Roxanne getting pinned. I think that's pretty sad. And they have Sol and Io pick up the victory. So, this happened. I like the fact that Io came back, but I hate the fact that Roxanne's getting pinned every single time they have her in these tag team matches or even in singles matches. I mean, they clearly have their priorities on Liv and Raquel, which is fine, but Roxanne is also great too. She's a former NXT Women's Champion. She should be booked a lot better than this. And so this is why she needs to get away from Judgment Day and do her own thing. And so she can start winning matches. Hopefully that starts at Money in the Bank, and we could start a tracking record of Roxanne start winning matches. I know the whole theory is that majority of the time, whoever wins the briefcase usually loses matches during their time with their briefcase. Maybe they'll flip that. The fact that she's losing matches now, maybe when she wins the briefcase, she'll start winning matches. So let's hope for that. CJ, how you feel about this and Io's return? And also another thing too. Why did they say a mystery partner? They got people's hopes up to think it was going to be someone that was making her debut, or thought it was going to be Lola Vice. They thought it was going to be Tatum Paxley, but yeah, or well, no, not really, because that just happened. But or just just a new face or something, but it just ended up being Io. Why did they do that? It could have just said Io Sky coming. It's gonna be wasn't because she just missed a week. I mean, really? So I thought the whole mystery thing was kind of a was a stupid thing for them to do. So yeah, what's your thoughts?
Um, well, to answer your last question, obviously we talked about this also off camera, but it's a marketing tactic for TKO and WWE. It's just try to sell tickets, which I don't think they really need to do for this particular feud. Um, Me personally, I think the women's division is pretty on fire, but I don't. For me, Io's not a mystery, so I don't know why they did that. I thought it was Lola for sure, and then it come out that it was Io. I don't mind it being Io, but to go to that length of saying, "Oh, she's got a mystery partner," like this person never been on WWE television before. She's a former women's champion. So yeah, that was crazy. It's just a marketing tactic by WWE and TKO, obviously. Um, so I don't think WWE is completely impressed with Soul's character. Just what it seems like to me. Like I said, they did the backstage segment. She seems to be a little bit edgier. I like that. I think they need to get rid of the whole surfer look. Truthfully, she's trying to replicate Lita. I think they could do something else with Soul. But I think that the Intercontinental Championship scene on the women's side is definitely picked back up now. Raquel's got plenty of challengers. Lyra still wants the title. Soul, you got Io's in the mix now, which you kind of asked for a couple of weeks ago. But let's talk about Roxanne Perez for a second. People may not know this, but me and you talked about this. I mean, we were on Wikipedia looking it up. Roxanne Perez, since she's come up to the main roster, has taken over 50 something pinfalls. At the end of the day, like this is somebody that was a goat in NXT, and it's kind of alarming, but at the same time, maybe it's not because look at Liv Morgan, how she started off. I mean, she ate a lot of pins too.
True. And it really wasn't about her too, but they had her in a faction. It was all about Ruby. So they're doing a similar thing with Roxanne. I can see. I didn't even thought about that, but that's true.
So I think, yeah, I mean, but it's still hard to watch because she was an icon. She was an icon in NXT. She held the NXT Women's Championship for a while. I don't know. I don't know why she's always got to be the one to eat the pin. It was a big soul snatcher from Soul to Roxanne. Obviously, Raquel. They want to get Chelsea Green pinned on SmackDown, but they don't let Raquel, the Intercontinental Champion, get pinned. So make sense. Yeah, I'm liking what they're doing with the Women's Intercontinental Championship picture. There's a lot of people involved again. I think it's going to be booked strong. There's a lot of people that can go after Raquel, as I said. But I think Roxanne, even though I don't like that she's been pinned so many times, I think that ultimately she's going to get paid off. I think she's definitely my pick to win Money in the Bank. So let's just hope that let's get her in the match first, and then obviously I think she's winning. I think she's leaving New Orleans with that briefcase. So.
Yeah, I really thought she was going to win last year. She didn't. So hopefully this year she'll definitely will win. So we shall see. I hope that is the case. Roxanne needs to get some victories under her belt. So like I said, hopefully to do a reverse thing. When she does win the briefcase, have her win matches. So let's see. Hopefully that's the direction. So let's speak of Soul and EL. They were backstage after their victory. They went face to face with Lyra. At least Lyra finally decided to be on TV. At least they show her on TV instead of during a commercial break, but she's still doing a backstage segment still. I don't know what the plan is here for Lyra. She turns heel and has done nothing incredibly interesting since. We've been saying this for weeks at this point. I'm just baffled that this is a woman that people were so high on NXT, saying that she was going to be people will frame her as Becky Lynch 2.0. I was like, what are we doing here? I guess in some ways she kind of is in some ways because she doesn't really mean anything, and she even though people are so high on her, the company doesn't view her as some type of credible name at all. She turns heel and hasn't really done anything credible. But I can't really call it. People keep calling her Becky Lynch. She's not Becky because, first of all, when Becky was called up, she didn't mean anything because it was all about Charlotte and Sasha. And then once she turned heel, she at least won the championship. The very next month, she turned heel on Charlotte at SummerSlam. So, but Lyra turns heel and she hasn't done anything. She's been doing talking segments, backstage segments, either during the commercial break. This is the first time in a few weeks or so or a whole month that she showed up on the actual show itself during the show was airing and not during the commercial break. So I don't know what we're doing here with Lyra. She was telling Soul that I'm good. I was one to blame you or whatever type of thing. I don't know what she was saying, but it was just so. I think Io was saying that she was having a mental breakdown or whatever. She kind of was. She just doesn't make any sense at this point. I don't know what they're doing with Lyra. If the plan is to bring Bayley back, I don't know why she decided to take time off when she did. It's really weird timing of taking Bayley off. If that is still going to be the feud that they're going to do. If so, why is Bayley not on TV? So it just makes Lyra's heel turn look really lackluster. Roxanne and Big, yeah, definitely for sure. Nice to see more contenders for Roxanne and the women. I guess so. I guess so. I think Io definitely should be in that IC title picture. I think Becky and Stephanie are going after Liv, so I could see that. Roxanne should definitely win that briefcase. I agree. So yeah. Anyway, this is the it's this thing with Lyra. I can't get behind, man. I just think it's just so. At this point, I don't know. I just don't know. They're not. I think they should flip flop. Maybe Lyra should go over to SmackDown and Blake over to Raw. But then I say that we're gonna do the same thing with Blake on Raw. The same thing with them doing these backstage segments, even with Blake on Raw, even doing the same thing with Lyra here. I don't really get, but I don't know how you feel, CJ. Wait, what do we do with Lyra Valkyria as a heel if they keep on continuously doing these backstage segments and not having her interact with anyone? Becky just came back. Just have her and Becky that be a reverse theme there. That could be an interesting dynamic. So, what is happening here with Lyra?
Yeah. I think I don't know, man. She's talking during the bathroom break. So people that don't have VPN. It's the first time we've seen her on camera. Like I said, I don't know what happened. I'm not booking the shows. I thought they were definitely, when they turned her, I said, heck yeah, like this is great. She can be the one to take the title off Soul. She beat Bayley at Saturday Night Main Event. Took her out of action. She's still talking about Bayley, and that's because they don't know if Bayley's re-signing or not. So they're hoping she does so that they can just continue that storyline. But they don't do the Soul Lyra match at SummerSlam. They have Raquel just beat Soul out of nowhere, which is fine now because she's got some challengers. But I don't know what they're doing with the Lyra. Raquel is a heel, so yeah. I mean, she's still taking jabs at Bayley. WWE maybe hoping Bayley's re-signing, and I don't think it's happened yet. I'm hoping it does. I'm hoping she stays. But yeah, this heel turn has been a complete flop. As of today, when it started off at a 10, and it quickly went from a 10 to 1.5 or less. Like I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know why they even took the title off of Soul and put it on Raquel instead of having her drop the title to Lyra, so that the
Right.
heel turn would make sense at the end of the day.
And that's what she said she was going to go after. All that time she said she wants to be the IC champion, all this stuff. And yeah, I thought that's where they were going to lead to. And yet it didn't. So that was stupid. Anyway, hopefully they'll do something with Lyra because she's in that same boat as Blake Monroe, doing a whole lot of nothing. So that's pretty sad. Anyway, let's go to over on NXT. So this is interesting. This is the first mixed tag team match that happened on the show with Izzy Dame and what's his name?
Nico Van.
Yeah, and Lizzie Rain and EK Prosper. So what's going to happen here? We're just going to talk about the women. Of course, this is still a women's show. We're going to talk about what the women did on, for their part here. These two women have been going back and forth now for a while. I'm sorry to really get kind of exhausted. Honestly, this doesn't really nothing for me. I just I don't know. It's just it's not really. It's not interesting. I don't know what the plan is here with the two of them. It's like they just it's like Izzy honestly needs to be. I think at this point maybe she should be part of the NXT title picture. I think she deserves that spot. I think at this point, or maybe even her winning the North American Championship again. She didn't really have a proper run. I don't think. I really like Izzy Dave. I really warm up to really like what she's been doing. There was a time I didn't really care too much about her, but up until recently, really, pretty much, I think really this year, I've been really starting to really like Izzy Dane more and more. Maybe because it's they're focusing on her more consistently than before. Maybe that's the other thing. I think also too her I think her partnership with Tatum last year got me really started to really like Izzy Dave more as a character. I was like, okay, and I really like her in the ring too. So yeah, Lizzie Rain too much for me. I can't get behind it. I mean, she's whole talking about heavy metal and rock music. Like I love rock music, but I don't know what she's doing. It is so it's too much, dude. Way too much. I can't get behind her at all. I'm not a fan of anything Lizzie Rain is doing. So yeah, I don't know. What do you think, CJ? What do you think what's happening here? And how you feel about Izzy Dame in particular? What do you see from her going forward? And what is this feud with her and Lizzie Rain? How long is this going to last for?
I think Izzy Dame is great. She has been on WWE's main show, like working some dark matches and stuff. So obviously, she's definitely being looked at. I don't want her called up right now. I think that would be crazy. But obviously, she's going to be a star at some point on the main roster. For some reason, I don't. I'm with you on this one. I'm not the biggest fan of Lizzie Rain, and when you're doing an NXT recap and you're having those two in a match, you definitely get very tongue-tied trying to say Izzy Dane and Lizzie Rain about 100 times in one match. For me, I think Izzy Dane needs to completely shell herself away from Nico and Cullen. I think that's kind of ran its course. But for some reason, WWE and NXT is very high on Lizzie Rain. The fans love her. She's not terrible in the ring. She's actually pretty good in the ring, truthfully. Because I'm gonna speak the truth on it. She's pretty good in the ring. But this feud's been going on for way too long. But it really kind of reminds me of the stuff that's going on with Jada and Natty. It's just like there's really nothing else for these women to do. There's so many people at the top of the card right now for Kendall. Zarya is being booked. We'll talk about that when we get to that part. But Zarya is being booked similar to Sol Ruka, just like I told you off camera and on the show a couple of weeks ago. So like I don't know what else they can really do with them at this point because the top of the card is just very top heavy. I don't know. It could go on for a little bit longer, honestly, as much as I don't like it. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe they do. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I don't know if they're gonna do a heat wave. I hope not. Maybe during the kickoff show. Maybe, but I mean, let's. I'm not gonna put. I just put it out there, but hopefully they don't do that. But we'll see. Anyway, let's go. Let's get to the. I thought was a really good segment here with Kendall Gray coming now and was gonna speak on the fact that she was she was going to come out first, but then Callie Armstrong decided to come out first. Then she didn't have that much to say till Kalani came out and said, I needed the title shot. I never got a proper title shot." Then finally Kendall came out and said was sick and tired of hearing Kalani keep on repeating herself week after week after week after week, and she gave her a contract. Claudia contract to where she gets a championship match at Heat Wave at the end of the month, and then when whoever walks out as the women's champion will face Callie for that championship afterwards. So this was a lot here, dude. I swear, I was like one thing after another. First it was Kendall was supposed to come out, then but Callie came out, and then Kalani came out, and all this happened. I was like, what is happening? It was. I liked it though, but it was like a lot out of like it kind of happened all at once, really fast. So it's how you feel about this entire thing here, and the fact that Kalani's finally getting a championship match against Kendall. Like I said, these two have great chemistry together. Kendall and Kalani, I love these two together. And the fact that Callie gets the next shot afterwards, and. But how you feel about everything that happened here all at once that fast here? It was like, because I was like, it all happened at once. It was all chaotic. I liked it, but it was like, let's have some pauses here. This is one after another, after another, after another, and no one really had a simple word in almost. Like when someone said anything, another like something else happens though, a proper sentence being formed. So how do you feel about this?
It was a lot. Callie Armstrong and Kendall Gray have a long standing feud and Evolve. I don't know if a lot of people follow Kendall and Evolve, but she would never beat. She's the best. She's the best. She's the second best wrestler on the. I'm not gonna say on the planet, but in WWE. Like I say, week in and week out on this show, you can put her against anybody on that main roster, and she can go with any of them, and I think she's better than 98% of the main roster right now. But I do not want her going up. WWE, let's pump the brakes. With Kendall Gray, let's keep her down for a while. It's interesting because Kalani is really good, phenomenal, by the way, as well. She's in a bad position. I think that NXT, WWE. People think Triple H has nothing to do with NXT. He's on the credits. He absolutely does. So Triple H, Shawn Michaels, NXT, all of them are together. WWE. I think they should have put the title on Kalani before they put the strap on Kendall because, like I said, and I'm going to continue to say it, I don't think Kendall Gray is dropping the title till probably Stand and Deliver. I just can't see it. So for me, I don't know what they do here. It is a one-on-one match, but that doesn't mean they can't. I haven't seen any posters for it yet. Doesn't mean they can't add Callie Armstrong. She did attack him after the match. I think that's maybe the only way to protect Kalani because I think Kalani is probably on her way as some. I think she's going to be the next one. That gets called up from NXT. And unfortunately, I think it's going to be without ever winning the women's championship. I would love to see them one-on-one because their chemistry is phenomenal. But I don't think Kendall Gray is dropping the title anytime soon. But it's good stuff. Like I said, when you asked me about the Izzy Dames and the Lizzie Reigns and the where's Reina Vulcan been? Like she disappeared all of a sudden.
Yeah.
When you're talking about that top of the card, it's so stacked. Like I said, Kendall has a bunch of sharks swimming around her. So, but at the end of the day, she's just gonna go through all of them. So,
It was like that when she won the title. When you saw when we saw Kendall and Kalani and Callie there, and Lola was there too. So it was already stacked when she won that title in the first place. So or yeah, or it was their second week, I guess, champion. I think it was. So yeah, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Kalani and Kendall have great chemistry. I would treat to see a proper see the actual proper feud between Callie and Kendall too, because I didn't really see that during their time in Evolve. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it for sure. So we shall see. I'm looking forward to Kalani and Kendall, like I said, because Kalani is really good, and we know how good Kendall is too. So I mean, they have great chemistry together. I think this. I think. I even think honestly, Kendall and Kalani, they are the best. I think Kendall has a great dance partner with Kalani Jordan because they just work really well together. It's always crisp and clear and clean, and it's just great. So looking forward to that match at Heat Wave for sure. So let's get into Zarya versus Ren again, but this time it's for the North American Championship. I wish I could say this was a great match, but they had the freaking Dark State involved. I think it's stupid that they had including men in this women's match that made no sense that they didn't involve them. I thought that was stupid, and because of that, Ren got distracted and Zarya retained, and so now they're doing the rematch again for Heat Wave. Uh, and so and then what is it? In a unification match for both the North American Championship and the Speed Championship. Hopefully, no one gets involved in that. Cause I just thought that was stupid. So I don't know how that's even going to work. By the way, are you going to have the clock on the line? Is it? I hope not. But it's like, why is the Speed Championship still a thing? I think it's so stupid. I just think it's a lame. And so, but it's gonna be for both championships. I guess they would do exactly what Soul did last year. I think that's also stupid. Zarya needs to be her own woman, honestly, and not following along what Soul did. So you turn on her for a reason, and yet we would copy her. What? So what? You're gonna come up to the main roster and be exactly like Soul, not being booked and not being seen. You also be the IC champion, not have a credible reign too. I mean, what are we doing, Zarya? What are we doing? Are we gonna do exactly the same thing as Soul Ruka? Every little detail to the point when you go. I just don't really understand the mindset here. As if I'm just watching this and it's not. And I'm not looking at this as a booking standpoint. I'm looking at this as like it's kind of like if it's like real life. It's like you're just following what Soul did, and yet you want to be your own woman, but you're not. So I just think that's stupid. You're just doing exactly what Soul is doing, being the North American champion. Want to be a double champion and be the Speed champion too. It's like, oh my god, what are we doing here? So I don't know why they're booking Zarya in the way they are here, but they're doing the match, and so I'm sure she's going to be walking out as both with two championships. So I don't know. I think it's dumb. I think Zarya should be her own person and do her own thing. But how you feel, CJ, about how they're booking Zarya reign as North American champion?
Yeah, I mean, I talked about it a couple of weeks ago. We talked about it also offline. I mean, it's a carbon copy. I mean, they probably already got a Zarya Sol Ruka match booked, and she isn't even up on the main roster yet. The last person to win the Women's NXT North American Championship and the Speed Championship at the same time is Sol Ruka. Zarya, they are 100% having Zarya follow in Sol Ruka's footsteps, which is just absolutely crazy to me. I don't understand it. But I'm going to talk about the match first. You know, they finally took the time limit off of there, which was great. But then they have Dark State. I guess it was Dion and Saquon come out there and fighting through the match, where they have absolutely nothing to do with that match at all. Zarya wins with the L5. Didn't expect Ren Sinclair to win anyway. I do like the idea that they're unifying the titles. I think they need to get rid of the Speed titles on the men and the women's. I think it's awful. I said last week on your show, I said, when are they going to defend the men's title? Because maybe they were listening because they did show up finally. Yeah, I mean it's they had this Zarya Solruka infatuation, and it's just not going to stop. So Heat Wave, we're getting a unification match with Zarya and Real Sinclair. I know Kendall Gray said that her and Ren are going to leave Heat Wave with all the gold. I don't think that's going to happen. I think Kendall is going to be leaving with some gold, but I think Ren is going to lose that Speed Championship. Like I said, maybe they make it into one title. I don't know exactly what they're going to do with it. They're unifying it, so that must mean that it's going to be combined into one. Zarya's not dropping the title right now. She's another one that's getting really heavily pushed, and like I said, she's following in Solruka's footsteps. Sol is actually the last person to hold both of those titles, so that's where we're headed for Heatwave. Look for Zarya to beat Ren again. So that's where we're headed.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll definitely see what happens there. I'm looking forward to that match, though. Honestly, that should be cool. That should be good, though. So last thing from NXT that we had Thea Hale and Jada Parker. They've been buddy buddy lately since Jada had needed some help to take on Natty and Carmen and Nikita. So they've looks like they're going to end up being a duo for a little bit. This reminds me of when this kind of reminds me of when Rhea was in a team with Nikki Cross when she was still Nikki ASH. Still, that kind of reminds me about that a little bit, or maybe a little bit better. Rhea and Liv as a team. I kind of you have a cool person in Rhea, and Liv was just the cool sidekick at the time, and all that stuff. This kind of a similar thing here, where Jada is the cool and interesting, cool person, and Thea is just happy that she's hanging out with the popular kid almost. That's what it feels like, and so I'm intrigued where this goes. I mean, we didn't see Natty or Nikita or Carmen this week, which is sad. I kind of wanted to see them, but whatever, maybe next week. So I'm intrigued what's going to happen here with these two as a duo. So we'll see what they do here. But yeah, it's interesting. How you feel about this, CJ? Where do you think it's going?
I think it's been good. I really do. I saw the Bobby commented so that Thea is getting an opportunity Wednesday, next Wednesday, on WWE Evolve for Nikita's WWE Evolve Women's Championship. So I did look at the brackets. Thea has been eliminated from the TNA tournament, so it makes sense. It's kind of something we talked about, a few weeks back. I think that there's, maybe Layla Diggs when she comes back, maybe she ends up with Thea and Jada Parker. I think it's just another one of those circumstances but I think Jada could eventually come out of this and eventually go, probably, in my opinion, maybe beat Zarya's next opponent, moving forward after Heat Wave. But it looks like Thea's wrestling Natty next week. That's what it sounded like from the conversation they had. She wanted Jada to be in her corner. So like I said, I've enjoyed the feud. It's still 2 against 3. Maybe we see Layla Diggs back. I don't know. To even the score. But ultimately, this has got to end with Jada and Natty. They're 1-1. Maybe it happens at Heat Wave. I think maybe they should do it at Heat Wave. Maybe they do some sort of stipulation. I quit, or last woman standing, or something like that. Ultimately, having Jada, eventually get all the way over, because Natty's not down there to win. She's down there to try to put over the NXT talent, and that's what I love about Natty. But Jada's definitely another one to keep your eye on, as far as, once she gets out of that feud with Natty, she's going to be going after. I don't think it's going to be Kendall. I think it'll probably be like some, Zarya or somebody like that. Or maybe she goes into a feud with Rena Balkan. I think that might be a good moving forward for Jada. So I'm looking forward to it.
We haven't seen that much of her. It's interesting we don't see that much of her. That's so, that's interesting. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like it's like yeah, she's just there still doing, she had like a few, matches, but then doing these, was backstage one time and then doing the video packages. I don't think I saw anything from her this week at all from yesterday. So maybe they'll do something next week. I don't know, but yeah, I could definitely could see that. I didn't think about that before. Rena and then Jada, yeah, could do something.
Yeah, I definitely want to see the final match between Jada and Natty though before they, you know,
Right.
they
Yeah.
gotta finish it off. You know, they're 1-1, so maybe something that heat wave, maybe do a stipulation match or something like that. That makes the most sense to me.
Yeah, I want that to be done. I'm already sick of that already. I need that to be over with. I'm ready for Jada to move on. I think I wasn't really into it when they first started. I don't think I thought I was like okay with it. I thought it was going to be like okay, well, there's something for Jada to do for a minute, but then it kept going. It kept going. It's like okay, but then they finally had their first match, and then they're still taking a long time to do the second match. So it's like, come on, man. So let's be done with this. If it happens at Heat Wave, let's get it over with and let's have Jada move on, have her face Reina. That could be something. I'm already excited about that already. That's not even being that's somewhere being teased yet. I'm already excited for that potential matchup. So let's get that going.
yeah, 100%. And I mean, looking at the comments, I mean, maybe they put the Evolve Championship on Thea. It looks like they are pushing her pretty strong. I don't know. I mean, she has pinned Nikita 2 times in a row, so it wouldn't surprise me. But we got to get this Jada Parker Natty the last match. Like I said, probably needs to be a stipulation match, a heat wave, so they can be done with it. And then after
I
that,
could see it being a cage match because of the whole this whole natty thing. So
good,
for
yeah,
some reason I could just see that for some reason, but I don't know. We'll see.
yeah, 100%.
Okay, well that does it. Thanks everyone for listening. This has been really a pretty good, enjoyable episode for tonight. So, DJ, tell everyone where they can find you.
Thank you, Kyle. As always, it's always a lot of fun. I look forward to Wednesdays. Unless it's prediction day and it's back to back, it doesn't bother me. I'm just kidding, but it's always a lot of fun to come on here and get away from the men's division for a night. Definitely a great conversation tonight. Everybody can find me on YouTube. First off, we're actually streaming on my YouTube channel at the EVP Show on YouTube. Thank you guys for all the comments from the YouTube for Kyle. There's a pretty good bit of them, so thank you guys for the support. Also on Twitter, you can find me at EVP2JP. Instagram, same handle. TikTok at Brady the Goat 21. Couple of things I have coming up next tomorrow night. I switch gears all the way from wrestling to reality TV. I will be doing the Big Brother season 28 week 5 recap show at 9:30 p.m. Eastern tomorrow night. And then Friday night I'm back for SmackDown at 10:30 p.m. Eastern for the SmackDown recap. And then you can catch me Sunday, not for 2 shows now, only for one at 6 p.m. Eastern time for my Sunday night scoops with AVP. So that's pretty much it for me. Thank you, Kyle, again. I definitely enjoy this show. I think it's a very good concept to do. I think not a lot of people talk about this, and it's definitely a hit. So I'm glad to be a part of it. So thank you again.
Yeah, for sure. Glad that you're on here too, CJ, for sure. And so yeah, you can find me on Twitter at KyleRochelle96. Instagram, I never really say this too much. Same thing, Kyle Anthony 96 on Instagram as well. And for me, you can also find me on another show called The Rundown with the World Greg every Monday, an hour before Raw. And of course, this show, Queens of WWE. I'll be here for episode 10 next week, me and CJ Wells. So thanks everyone for listening, and I'll see everyone next week. See ya.